Hey everyone, this is your favorite history buff. We are traveling with history. Today I want to do a small introduction to the Confederate States of America. Now, it lasted from 1861 to 1865 during the Civil War in the United States. Well, anyways, I do not take their side, let's be clear on that. But their history must be told. Shall we begin? There were 11 states in the South that seceded from the Union. Came through in the months. The South attempted to take federal property in their boundary, even if it was considered belonging to their enemies. Docked forts, custom houses, and arsenals. And they attacked the Union Fort Sumter, which began the war. Not only that, but they had a special constitution drafted in Montgomery, Alabama. The president would have only one term, which would be 6 years, not 4. Congress, 2/3 of their power would be required to admit a new state. They prohibited protective tariffs and were needed for government funding and internal improvements. You gotta remember, they were states' rights. And they were, of course, pro-slavery, hence the war. We had former U.S. Senator, Secretary for War Jefferson Davis. He was selected to be the President of the Confederate States of America. He had some experience at West Point. He was in the Mexican-American War. He was representative of Mississippi. He was the Secretary of War under President Franklin Pierce. He was Senator of Mississippi. Then he became the President of the Confederacy. Here's the words from Alabama secessionist William L. Yancey. The man and the hour have met. Prosperity, honor, and victory await his administration. Now, I said earlier it lasted only a few years. It was never recognized as a sovereign nation, and they were not too thrilled that Abraham Lincoln had won the election of 1860. Abraham Lincoln was the first president to be Republican, and the South was more an agricultural economy, cotton for instance, cotton kings. And the Arizona Territory didn't join the Confederacy until 1862. Jefferson Davis made military service mandatory, but he exempted those with 20 or more slaves. Unfortunate, but true. However, there was also some chaos. Some of the troops, they plundered and robbed civilians in the countryside, also capturing them. Jefferson Davis, proving himself to be an incompetent leader, was nearly impeached, challenged even by his own Vice President, Stevens. There was the financial disasters, and they could not repair the infrastructure. Supplies ran low. Jefferson Davis wanted to arm the slaves. He proposed they'd arm the slaves with emancipation. I can't say that was the goodness out of his own heart. The Confederate Congress agreed, only without the emancipation part. Now, you would think Jefferson Davis would be qualified with all that experience, but he's not the man Abraham Lincoln was. Davis couldn't even control most of his own forces. You gotta remember the Confederates were outnumbered 2-1. They were outgunned in technology, and most of the fighting was done in the South. The foreign policies weren't any better. Confederate ports were blocked off by the Union on a recommendation of Secretary of State William Henry Seward to Abraham Lincoln. Even Great Britain, well, they loved their cotton from there, eventually recognized Confederate states as hostile. This wasn't always the case. The Union states, on the behest of Britain, would adopt some neutral policies, and in case The British government would recognize the blockade as a legit tool of war. There were even some in France and Britain that sympathized with the Confederates, but ultimately remained neutral. A lot of aristocrats, some low class. Wasn't exactly the best moment for them. Spoiler alert, the Union won. A lot of casualties, 700,000. Confederate states ceased to be very costly in the South. Fortunately, the Union was restored, but there was a lot of work to do. They were trying to create state governments loyal to the Union, but that'd take a long time, many years, hence the Reconstruction era, a different story. And, well, Jefferson Davis was the only president of the Confederate States. That's all I have for this part. Thank you all for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. There should be more stories in the future. Ding that bell. Anyways, hope you all have a good time, and bye-bye now.